Welcome to Sziget Festival, one of the largest and most historic music events here in Hungary. We will spend the whole week here and we will bring you what the experience is like, what are the things you should know about it if you want to visit in the coming years. Let's go and enjoy Sziget together. Yay! So we're starting on the second day, but in reality this is technically called as the day zero. And I know it gets complicated because Sziget moves into full throttle from tomorrow, from Tuesday, and after that it's a 5-day mayhem of many different artists, many different programs, but sometimes there are 2 days when there are less capacity opened up, less stages are being active. And these are mainly things where they try to offer some cheaper tickets and some themed days. For example, yesterday, and I know it's complicated, was day -1, which was a celebration of one of Hungary's most famous songwriters and musicians, János Bródy, celebrating his work with many different local artists here on the large main stage. And today is all about bringing nostalgia, because today we will see some of those bands who used to be playing here many times in the past. But before we talk a little bit about Sziget's past and where we are, let's go check in and grab a beer.
But first, we spotted this tower we could climb at the entrance, which gave us a nice view of the festival grounds from high up. But we couldn't enjoy that for long, as the shows were about to start. And one of those first bands going live was Goran Bregovic and his wedding and funeral band, who, I will be honest, is someone I always confuse with Boban Markovic, and vice versa, but I attended concerts of both gentlemen, and those were always full of fun, dancing, and jumping around. And that has definitely not changed since the last time I've attended one of Mr. Bregovic's concerts.
So where are we exactly? Well, the name of the festival can be a clue, because Sziget literally means island. And many people often confuse this island to Margaret Island, because Margaret Island is one of the most popular islands in Budapest. Many people visit it, but we are not there. This is actually a much larger island just north of Margaret Island, but it is still very easy to come here. And one of the biggest highlights and atmospheres of this island is that you are on an island. This is really a separated place from the city center of Budapest. And that is also why many people really love to come here. Originally this was called as Diák Sziget, because it was targeting mainly the youth and students, but then later on it became more and more popular, and those who visited in the early years grew up. And of course they still needed a festival, so this became just known as Sziget. And one of the highlights and one of the reasons why I loved to come here was how eclectic the lineups were here. You could literally go to a pop concert, then go to some guy playing on a guitar from Belarus, then finish off at a death metal concert, and then maybe later on in the night then go and have some EDM party, go visit some electronic music and listen to that. There was so much. However, then, at the peak of this festival's success, it was sold off to an equity firm who did a lot of investment into the festival itself, and a lot of infrastructure has been improved here. However, the charm of the festival kind of got lost. The music lineup kind of changed and became a little bit stale, at least for my kind of a perspective. But now, the original people are back. And I have been coming to Sziget quite a lot, and I really loved that eclectic vibe. And this year I am excited, and I am excited for today as well.
We then headed back to the main stage to check out more Chiba. But to be fair, I never really listened to their music at home, and I didn't really remember why I came to their concerts at the festival before. But after a few songs, I remembered. The singer, the band members, it all just comes together so well when listening to it live. And it's just damn good music for my ears.
Burger time! Now that was a lovely start to our concert. Spending time was amazing, and now it's time to eat something. And later on we will talk about how much these cost here and how expensive in general Sziget is. But for now, let's get some energy with this. Cheers!
But the real nostalgic experience came when Faithless took the stage. Even though Moxie Jazz, their iconic frontman, has sadly passed away years ago, I think they managed to continue their career well, evolving the band but also respecting their history. We danced, we jumped, and we screamed, but what is most important, we had a lot of fun.
So this was day 0, and my voice is already fading away, so I'm really curious if I can talk by the end of this week. But anyways, let's switch to the next day. Bye! Welcome to day 2. Well, technically, this is the first day when the Sziget Festival will operate in its full capacity, and it will be one of our longest days, because we will be seeing so many acts. Let's get in, and also let's start with a beer.
The first band we wanted to see was Wolf Alice, a British indie rock band I've been following since their early years, and while their music may have changed, their energy certainly did not. This was an awesome concert, a little eclectic even, slower and more gentle songs, mixed with some really heavy and crazy ones too. An excellent start to our day here.
This is actually non-alcoholic beer, because we're here for the full week and I gotta make a proper video for you guys, which means that I cannot drink all the time. So this is actually really nice as a non-alcoholic beer, because all the other ones I had were really garbage, but this is fine. Now, one of the things that many people are interested in when they are planning a trip to Sziget is how expensive Sziget is. And the reality is that Sziget in general, for us locals at least, is kind of expensive. Now, I'm not gonna tell you all the different prices for every single thing that you have here. I will just put them somewhere here on the screen. But one thing that's new this year is that prior to 6 o'clock, the prices are slightly lower, and after 6, they become more expensive. So drinks have 2 prices actually, depending on when you come here, but most of the people will come here after 6. So I think those prices are the most relevant. Now, regarding food, those are also much more expensive. We can find some burger places here, which you can also find in the city center of Budapest. And the prices here on the festival for the same burgers are actually more expensive. But honestly, if you go to a festival like anywhere in Europe, prices will be higher, unfortunately. Today, the Sziget is at full capacity. Every single stage is live. There are already concerts late in the afternoon, around 4 o'clock already. So this will be a party that lasts until the next morning, and then it will start again tomorrow, early afternoon. Nevertheless, we talked about the prices. We also need to talk about how can you pay, because that's also some of the questions that people have. The thing is that Sziget is cashless. You cannot pay with cash. You can only pay with some sort of a digital solution. You can either use a regular bank card, you can use your phone, or you can top up your wristband that you get. This is a new thing from the past few years, and for that you can use either a bank card to top it up. If you lose it, then it doesn't mean you lost your bank card, so maybe it's a safer solution. I most of the time use my phone. Nevertheless, point is, you cannot use cash here. You can only use some sort of a bank card or other digital solutions.
Our day then became super packed. First we checked out Koi Koi at a smaller stage, and all I knew about them is that they are from Serbia and they make rock music. And it was really fun to get to know them. These smaller bands usually really appreciate the chance to play at a larger festival like this, and they really put on a fun show. At one point, the singer came out to oversee a friendly wall of death, and it was so good to see that even with a smaller crowd like this, you can still have so much fun. We then made a brief stop to eat something and chose Crunchy, who have a few shops in the city center, and they are popular for their fried chicken. My sandwich was just okay, but the strips my friend ordered and the sauce that came with that dish was really good. We then went for a walk while Zara Larsson was playing at the main stage and saw that there is nobody at the Ferris wheel. So naturally, as 2 straight guys, we had to squeeze ourselves into the romantically small cabin of the Ferris wheel and enjoy Zara Larsson together from possibly the best viewing spot of the festival, right as the sun was setting. Magical. Then we checked out Sombre, or Sombre? I don't know how to pronounce that, but it was a really nice show. Gave me a bit of 70s rock concert vibes. The guy has a great voice, and everybody was having fun and enjoyed themselves. We then rested a bit during the much darker cyberpunk synthwave performance of Perturbator. His hair was long and amazing, and I was really jealous about that. And then finally, we closed the day in the middle of the night with a trip down memory lane with Underworld. We definitely needed to rest before this because this show was insane. Welcome to the next day. As you can see, that's the Parliament building right behind me, which means we are not on the festival location right now. But we came here because we wanted to show you guys how you can actually get to the festival grounds. Because we are right now at Batthyány Square, a minor transportation hub, and from here you can take suburban railway line H5 that takes you all the way to Filatori Gát station. That's where you need to get off, and until that station your regular tickets and passes are applicable, and once you get off the train there, all you need to do is just follow the signs or follow the crowd. First program for the day, find a place where they braid hair. My wife really wanted to get her hair braided, and we found a unicorn tent where they did exactly that. And with her lovely new hair, we headed over to the main stage to see Carson Coma. They are a local band, and if you like indie rock music and want to listen to some really fun Hungarian lyrics, I can highly recommend them for you to try. Now, Sziget Festival is usually held at the beginning of August, and these are some of the hottest days here in the country. And that means it's even more important to stay hydrated, especially if you're drinking so much alcohol here. Nevertheless, you don't need to buy bottles of water here at the bars. You can bring in your own water here. If you have a large bottle that you bought outside, you can bring that in. Plus, here on the festival grounds, you can also refill your water bottles. There are some of these dispensers located all over the festival. Now, one thing to note, if you go there and try to refill your water bottles, if the pressure is really high, then the water will just splash everywhere. So if you need to refill your water bottles, just keep that in mind. Next, we checked out the more premium food court called as Food Paradise, where this year you could order at the tables using a QR code. No need to stand in line, just sit, order, and they bring the food to your table. While this was called as a premium food place, the prices weren't that much different, and the bao burgers we had from 101 Bistro were really tasty. Except for the fries, those were a bit overdone, but the pulled duck bao and the cheeseburger bao were just top notch. Now, in the past few days you guys have seen that we've been drinking canned beer, but obviously if you come here you may drink something else, like a cocktail or draft beer, and then you will get your drinks in cups, plastic cups. But these cups have actually prices. This is something that's happening all over Budapest, but it's done a little bit different here at the Sziget Festival, because for every single cup that you use, you will need to pay 800 forints, and that is technically 400 forints deposit, 400 forints of usage fee. What does that mean? Whenever you go back, you will not need to buy a completely new plastic cup. If you buy another drink, you will get your drink in a new cup, but you don't need to pay for it. However, if you don't want to drink anymore, you can take these back to the recycling points, and there you will get 400 forints back. So 800 forints is the cost, but 400 is what you will get back if you return the cups. We then briefly checked out Biffy Clyro on the main stage, but unfortunately we had to sacrifice half of the show. That's what happens when the schedule is so packed. We walked over to the performance of Health, who I have not seen live before, but I was super excited for their show. It's like slow and dark music made for people who loved anime and Command & Conquer games. And again, look at those long hairs, I'm just so jealous. And finally, we closed the day with 21 Pilots, who showed again that there's a reason why they are super popular. The main stage area was just packed with people, but even from the back, we could hear and see the concert well. It was a really well-made show they've put on the stage here. It's the next day, and yesterday we already talked about the summer heat and the importance of hydration. But related to the summer, there's one more thing that we definitely need to highlight. Normally on the first few days of the festival, these grounds are covered by green grass, but by the end of the festival, this place becomes sort of like a desert from all the people dancing and walking on these grounds. This year is slightly different because there is a huge drought here in Central Europe during this time, so we were already coming
coming to this yellowish ground from the first day of the festival. Now, the reason why this is important is because by the end of the festival, this ground generates a huge dust. But this time we have felt that dust in the air from the very first day, which also means that if you come here and you cannot really handle the dust, then you should either have a mask with you or cover your face with something. Because honestly, by the end of the day, even I can barely breathe. Probably after this whole festival I need to go and see a doctor. But nevertheless, if you have some problems with the dust in the air, then make sure to have something to cover your mouth with.
This day's schedule was most exciting for my wife, because she is a huge fan of Luis Capaldi. And while I personally don't listen to his music, the guy can make depressing songs sound really enjoyable. It was one of the nicest concerts of the festival, and it was so good to see how much my wife loved seeing and hearing Luis Capaldi live for the first time in her life.
This festival is actually very famous for all the other activities that you can do here. Because here on the island there are so many other things that you can enjoy between concerts, or when in the morning you're waiting for the day to start, you can go to, for example, one of the circuses that come here to the Sziget Festival, where you can enjoy many different kinds of acrobatic and all other kinds of circus activities. But you can also participate in some other interactive and fun activities. Like, for example, there's the so-called Vursli, which is a traveling fun fair where you can do some games, have some fun. Or you can also attend some smaller performances like comedy shows or NGOs representing some good cause and talking about some of their initiatives. You can learn more about their work if you attend some of their tents. But besides all of this, there are also some chill zones, and we're gonna show you a few in the next few days. But today we're here to enjoy some concerts besides all of these fun interactive activities. And also, I'm kind of getting hungry soon. So let's also find something to eat.
We then headed over to try another food place where we ordered some fries with some sausage and pulled pork, and honestly, it wasn't bad, but not great either. You see, almost every food stall needs to offer some budget food items, which cost around 3,500 Hungarian forints. My sausage with fries was one of those items, and usually expectations should not be high with those dishes, but at least there are some more budget-friendly options out there. But gotta go back to our final concert of the day, and that was the lovely performance of Florence and the Machine. And I mean, this woman has an amazing voice. It's exactly the kind of music I personally don't listen to at home, but I am more than happy to hear and experience this live. This is the kind of music concerts are made for.
But when the night ends, how do you get home? Well, luckily during the festival, the suburban railway line is going all the night. So technically, if you came here with the suburban railway line, you can use it to get home. But alternatively, Budapest also has an excellent night transport system. You just have to use the Budapest Go app, and that will precisely tell you which lines you need to use, which buses you need to use. But if you don't want to go with the public transport, then there's a taxi stand right outside at the festival gate. Welcome to the penultimate day of the festival. Now, I'm really excited for today's lineup, but before we get there, let's talk about some general tips of things and items that maybe you should consider bringing with you if you come to the festival. Now, some of these may be no-brainer to seasoned festival goers, but one of the utmost important things, I believe, is a proper shoe. Comfy shoes, because you will be walking around this festival and then jumping and dancing, so comfy shoes are really important. However, I would suggest not bringing your favorite shoe, because for sure it will become disgusting by the end of the festival. Even one day can put a lot of dirt, dust, and maybe some spilled drinks onto your shoes. So prepare with comfy shoes, but don't mind that they will become really dirty and disgusting by the end of your stay. The next thing is very simple: sunscreen. Always make sure to wear sunscreen, especially if some of the acts are playing in the early part of the day. There is a lot of sunshine at this time in August. It's not just hot, but there's a lot of UV radiation. So having some sunscreen with you is really important. and don't just have it, but you apply it to your skin. Now on Sziget Festival, everybody dresses up the way they want. It's called as the Island of Freedom, and if you look around, people dress up in all sorts of ways, expressing themselves. But maybe if I could give a small little advice, is to consider having a headwear, because again, you will be there on the sun. If your brain starts to get melted under that sun, that's not going to be good for your concert experience, so maybe consider having some proper headwear. Now another thing that's not really essential but can be useful is to bring a small towel with you. This is good because if you go to the bathroom and you wash your hands, there will be only just some paper there. However, if you have these small towels with you, these can be used to dry your hands and then get back into the party. And of course, when you go to the bathroom or you're just touching anything around here, it's also good to have some wet wipes or any sort of sanitizer with you, so consider bringing those as well. Now everybody who comes to the festival or any kind of music concert these days will definitely bring their phone and will record some videos and take pictures. However, if you do that, maybe your phone will drain in power. But does that mean you also need to consider bringing a power bank? Luckily, you don't actually need to bring a power bank because Sziget has many different spots here where you can rent out some power banks. You just pay a deposit, and when you return the power bank, you will get your money back. So power bank is not something that you have to bring. And this year we are really blessed with the weather. Every single day we had sunshine and hot weather, but generally in the past few years there were some days when there was a bit of rain. So make sure to look up the weather ahead, and if there's gonna be rain according to it, then make sure to bring something against the rain, like a poncho or a small raincoat, because umbrellas you cannot bring to the festival grounds. But I would also want to hear from you guys. If you've attended the festival or any other festival, what are some of the things that you would recommend for people to bring and consider? Let us know in the comments. Cheers! Pink.
This day, we first stumbled into the concert of Nation of Language, who played some indie pop music and brought a bit of 80s synth-pop nostalgia to our hearts. Then later, I took the courage to try the zip line. You can see me here with clean pants, and up there, it's also me with my pants soiled. But hey, I conquered my fear of heights at least. We then enjoyed a lovely concert from Norwegian singer Sigrid, who brought fun and joy to the early hours at the main stage with her energetic performance. And then we had possibly the best value meal for two at the festival, the large Wiener Schnitzel by Budapest. I mean, just look at the size of that breaded, deep-fried meat. It was so delicious. Then we had a bit of nostalgia at the Budapest Park stage with the satirical hip-hop group known as Belga, another Hungarian act you should definitely check out if you want to hear some fun Hungarian lyrics. And then finally, we saw Bring Me the Horizon. I supported my wife with Luis Capaldi. Now it was her time to support me. And I guess this was the last time she ever came with me to a metal concert like this. But for me, the show was great. Visuals were awesome, songs were awesome, there were circle pits, mosh pits, the whole shebang. But I couldn't let my wife relax after her head was blown off by metal music, so we then headed over to watch Andy's OK, which is also metal, jumping, screaming, circle pits, all of it. The cherry on top of a wonderful metal cake of the day.
Welcome to the final day of the festival. Today we are excited only for one concert. But there are some other places which we haven't been to at the festival grounds, so today we want to show those very special places to you. Let's go.
We first started with grabbing lunch at an Indonesian food stall, and honestly, at first I didn't have high expectations for this food, but it was surprisingly tasty. I had some spicy beef while my wife tried the chicken, and both were really delicious. Then we headed over to one of the most unique attractions of the festival, the Luminarium. It's basically what it would look like if a balloon and an art installation had a baby, and you can explore it inside. Once you step in, you feel like you've left the festival behind and traveled to a surreal dimension of colors. It's a really calming experience that I can highly recommend to anyone who visits the festival.
And of course, part of the fun of visiting a festival like this is to camp on site. And if you do so, then you can do that in multiple different ways. There's the, let's say, the disorganized version where people just put up their tents basically almost anywhere. Of course, there are some spaces where it is not allowed, but there are also some dedicated fenced off places where people can put their tents up there in those areas, and those usually also have some sort of a facility for showering, cleaning yourself up. And within these areas there are also different versions, because there are the plain basic ones, but if you don't want to bring your own tent, then you can also rent out tents, and there are VIP camping that's also existing here. But nevertheless, next we're gonna visit the beach.
Let's go to the beach.
Let's get away.
This year, due to the massive droughts across Europe, the levels of the Danube River were extremely low. Nevertheless, the beach area is always one of the most calm and chill places of the festival, where you can come to unwind a bit, and if you want to cool yourself, then you can also dip your body into the Danube River as well.
Now, as I have mentioned before, this festival is really expensive, especially for us locals, the ticket prices and just generally being here. So for me to come here to make this video, I really had to think about this hard if I want to spend my money on this. But this year we are really thankful for Sziget, who have approved the press ticket for us and to come here and make a video. But this probably cannot happen or could not have happened without all of you guys who have been watching us over the last few years, growing our subscriber base, watching our videos. So I'm really thankful for all of you, especially to our lovely community members who support us on a monthly basis. Thank you so much. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to come here and make this video for all of you.
But we couldn't end the festival without trying a sausage, and since the schnitzel was so good at Budapest, we had to return there to try their sausage. And this really knocked it out of the park for us. A really delicious and not too expensive set of Hungarian grilled sausage with mustard, pickles, flatbread and some onions. One of the best meals of the festival.
But even if we have talked about a lot of tips and tricks about this festival, I think maybe one of the things that you are really interested in the end is how did we feel this year? And to be honest, for me personally, this was a very good lineup, something that I have never seen in the past few years, and it was such a joy to come back here, see some bands I was really excited for, some that I never heard of, but I listened to a few songs and then I came here and I had a lovely experience, or just stumbling into some other concerts and activities that made me feel really happy about music and just celebrating this place, this festival. But of course this is really dependent on my subjective experience, so I'm really curious if you have visited this festival this year. What did you think? What was it like for you? Leave a comment below and let us know.
The last concert for us was BB No Money's show at the main stage, and honestly this was one of the absolute best parties we had at this year's Sziget Festival. Every single song filled with simple but catchy beats, and BB No Money even showing up dressed with some Hungarian motifs, giving out a Hungarian cookbook, rapping with the Hungarian flag, and generally just making everybody happy and having a good time. Some concerts are good for the quality of the music and the genius of the musicians, and some, like this, are just about enjoying yourself and putting the problems behind you for a bit. And this year's Sziget had all of these experiences.
Now we hope you guys enjoyed learning about Sziget Festival in 2026, and maybe in the following years you will come and visit this wonderful festival, or alternatively you come to Budapest. And if you want to know what you can do in this wonderful city and across Hungary, then make sure to check out some of our other videos. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the future videos. Bye!